A pleasure to meet y'all at last, and welcome back to Survival of No Limits. Wow, kind of dodged a bullet there, but anyways, I guess it's about time that I get into some more uncharted territory. This is yet another subject that is in fact relative to survival, because this is number 29, Internet, Fame, and Stardom. Now, like I said, this is in fact some uncharted territory, something that not all people are very familiar with, in the concept of things that you must learn to survive against, because this is in fact not survival of the fittest, but this is in fact survival of no limits. So of course I'm going to be bringing in a lot of new territory here for me to conquer, because most survival channels or networks may not be very abundant in terms of whatever subjects are to come. But of course, when it comes to internet fame, there are a lot of ways that you can go at it. For me, I've spent about 17 long years on the internet, and most of which have really been in relevance to making myself a name. A name, of course, that people will hopefully recognize and remember for all time. There have been a lot of goals, both short and long term, that I have prepared for myself. And of course, if there are in fact a few major rules that I have always done my best to follow, it's to respect others for who they are, keep drastic comments to yourself, unless it's something that you must address. Try to avoid going into some very sensitive topics, including politics and the death in someone's family. And then, of course, a fourth is that you should just be yourself and not no one else. If Oasis can do it back in '94 with their song Supersonic, then anyone can. Of course, because of the fact that I've been following all these rules, staying true, positive to everyone around here, that is in fact what is allowing me and my fan base to grow. But they aren't just any fans. These are in fact people who have known me for a long time. And this is in fact outside of the class of people that I've had during my school years, between 2004 up until around 2019. Of course, there were a lot of people out there that I probably won't be able to see ever again, but even more so with the fact that there's lots of people out there who now have taken on to the usage of daily social media just to see how others are doing in their lifetime. Especially at times like this. Of course, we are in fact having a lot to suffer from. Here in 2021, lots of crap has already happened, and I just don't even know at this point. This is in fact a good time to address the fact that this is in fact a terrible year. I mean, you could look at it many other ways. 2020, of course, was one of those years that Kaiju Force Neo was in high-end growth, and it was just swinging around collecting every single piece of abundance that I really need just to get by. And if that's not the only reason right there, then well, there are a ton of reasons out there that people should pretty much never say 2020 is the worst year ever, or cuss about anyways. That's another thing I need to mention. You probably might already remember the fact that I have actually used those kind of words. A lot, actually. But that was because I was not old enough to understand the consequences of using such incest. And on top of all that, I mean, all the profanity, obscene slurs and the like, they were all over the place. The Urban Dictionary has been a huge hotspot based in ways that people are communicating to each other. Of course, if you're from the 1990s, then you might remember that there were a lot of terms that are still existent, actually, and we use them all the time. Of course, that had its place then, but why now does it have to continue in such a way? Why do people have to keep making up words and then all of a sudden they get away from it scot-free? Why are these words real? How are we even... Yeah. I legit just don't know how we're actually going to be handling all this. On top of all that, there's a lot of stuff that I've seen on the web that I never should have. I still have a lot of regret for it, but how can I get rid of those memories? I can't. There's no real logical way at this point to just erase your memories, but that really is a huge problem. There's so much in life that I never ever wanted to do, but yet, most of the time when it is done, I usually get forgiven or the damage is done. And most of the time the damage is done with the many things I've already done, and I can't change that. I do in fact want to change a lot of stuff, and that is for the fact that lots of stuff has been on the internet that never, ever, ever, ever should have ever been put on the web to begin with. And the worst part about it is, not many people are wanting to talk about it. To talk about this stuff. It probably would have been for the right reasons to just let these things in the past be in the past and never be brought up again in the future, but I cannot ever stress anything about this enough. With all this stuff that's been uploaded onto the web, the viral videos and the like have become a pretty big part of our culture. We've had a lot of things take place, especially since YouTube was in fact invented and released into the world back in 2005. And in the 16 years since then, we've really had a lot of stuff happen on it. It started off with some things that would appear on the web here and there, including cat videos, a video of a panda sneezing, and then eventually the startup of some internet challenges that would eventually be labeled as stupid. Like the Ipecac challenge, where you down a bottle of Ipecac syrup, a medicinal liquid used for inducing vomiting. And that, of course, was wild back in the years of 2006 up until around 2010, pretty much. That, of course, had its run during those times, but today, it's probably not very relevant. Especially when you get down to the deeper portions of the stupidity that people possibly pull off. I'm talking challenges, like the challenge where you set somebody ablaze, eating Tide Pods, Bird Box, and much, much more. The many stuff that people put online to begin with never should have been. But the way that we look at this stuff now, I can pretty much see what they were intending. They were intending to spread a word of warning to people around us. I can kind of understand that part, but I could just never get over the fact that these guys who have put videos on the internet of themselves getting themselves hurt or putting themselves in harm's way like that by eating random junk that ain't even considered food, by getting themselves hit in the face by a bus, by getting themselves, spine busted by falling off a cliff, just to prove that they're good cliff divers. I could never get over the fact that at some point in time, at the time that these videos were first uploaded to the web as a whole, the everlasting amount of outrage and, embarrassments. The everlasting amounts of both of those things, plus a lot more, were all over the place. I could tell you that I've not had an experience like any of that stuff, apart from the stuff that you might have known me for doing way back in the 2010s, especially at the height of all these famous internet challenge crazes that have happened between 2007 and 2015. It was during those years that YouTube was pretty much at the peak of high-end stupidity and lots of other sorts of idiotic moves that people would pull off on the web. But even those things continue to this very day. You got people out there who perform lots of insane stunts. They try to do lots of things that are very dangerous and rather stupid. Unintelligent to say the least. Of course, YouTube does have their new system with a lot of new guidelines and plenty of new rules that go around to everybody on the web nowadays. But even those don't stop those people. I tell you, if there was ever a way to remove videos off of the web with a single button, then I would have gotten back to work, cracked my knuckles and sat down and got my fingers ready for a lot of blood pumping typing in terms of coding and all that good stuff. Because I never, ever, 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 ever want to see videos like those again. I'm dead serious. After all the stuff that's happened since 2005, since the internet was even invented, all America has been doing, and also the world, they've been putting themselves in loads of trouble. Trouble with themselves, trouble with others, trouble with the people's, well, peers and the like, including their parents and their teachers and their faculty members and the like, and many others. Friends and family are pretty much being torn apart, specifically for the stuff that people have done on the web. I, of course, have had my share of this idiocracy, stupidity, and blatant disregard for human life as a whole. But I could sure tell you that as of 2015, I have fully matured. I have moved on from the stuff that I used to do all the time, especially because of YouTube's new rules where if any of these kind of challenges ever appear on the internet again, then we immediately get removed from existence, as if we never existed on YouTube. That's how far they're willing to go. They're willing to remove our channels at the sight of a video of any of these kind of challenges from the past, and then some. But I guess the most important thing when thinking about most of these things that have happened in the past, and even here into the present, we really should look back, because we have in fact done so much to at least help change America for what it is and what we stand for. I, of course, may not truly stand for the stars and stripes, but I sure do know a way around many, many situations. So let's just say that we are in fact far from over something of this sort. But otherwise, that's pretty much it here for the channel. That's pretty much it here for Survival of No Limits. But you can expect a lot more stuff to come about. But if you want to see more go down on my channel, make sure that you like, subscribe, comment, follow me on social media, and stay on the Hollywood side.